as simple as that.
We may be faced with another problem on this front
You can hear it?
that will be interesting for people like ourselves to navigate. So the other shoe hasn't quite dropped here, but there was recently an article in the Washington Post. This may have been covered in many other places, but I saw it there, that the Office of Naval Intelligence and the Pentagon are scheduled to brief Congress about the wealth of data that the government has on UFOs.
All right.
Right. And stuff leaked or was leaked purposely during this last year and got surprisingly little attention. But the rumors that I've heard, and again, this is still just in the mode of rumors, but perhaps soon to be confirmed, is that our intelligence services and the Pentagon are going to tell Congress that this is real, right? This is a real phenomenon, right? It's not that UFOs have been explained to the satisfaction of the government. On the contrary,
they'd have to change their name.
They have seen that there's technology that really can't be of human origin, right? That they don't think this is the Chinese or the North Koreans or some other part of human society producing technology that is strange, and they can't write it off as anomalies of perception. I mean, there's just too much radar data. There's too much satellite imagery at this point, and the stuff they're sitting on that's top secret is much better than anything that's been leaked out, right? So this is still something that's just...
I'm cynical when someone says this cannot be of human origin. That sounds to me like a 50s movie.
Yeah, no, exactly. And many of the details I've heard also sound very goofy, but this is probably premature to even talk about this. But, I have someone reached out to me and has assured me that, I'm going to be on a Zoom call with, former heads of, the CIA and Office of Naval Research, and people, whose bona fides are very easy to track. And they're concerned about the messaging around all of this to the public and dampening down panic and conspiracy theories. But what is being promised here is a disclosure that is frankly either the most alarming or the most interesting thing in the world, depending on how you take it. But it's not a representation of the facts that will give scientific skeptics any comfort. And that's just, we're faced with the prospect of having to apologize to the people we've been laughing at for the last 50 years.
So, Farouk, you obviously heard that again, yeah? One of the things I want to start off with immediately and highlight is that just if you like okay, so if you like from a sort of psychoanalytical perspective, do analysis of Harris and his tone there. One of the things with Harris you realize over the years when you unfortunately have to watch his stuff to sort of highlight the issues with it, is that this guy he's at heart a reductionist. He's an atheist, right? So anything that's beyond what science can tell us about, he will undermine, he will be skeptical about, and he would ridicule, essentially, right? Because he'll take the line of the logical positivists. However, here you see him, it's almost the tables have turned. The host of the show seems to be playing that role, and he is the one that's almost trying to suggest that this is serious, this is real, this is not a joke, there's something going on. And it's almost like he is now at least been assured to that degree in regards to the reality of this phenomenon. Obviously, he was awaiting further calls and whatever the case is, which didn't seem to happen. And then he sort of, as Weinstein highlighted, that he sort of trickled off. But he, at the end, he said that, we would, something along the lines of that we have to, we'd have to take this back and apologize to those that have been speaking about this stuff. So one thing to highlight is that this is an individual who is highly skeptical, an atheist, a type of reductionist who is taking this stuff quite seriously, right? That's the first point I wanted to highlight to everyone. Anything else that you picked up from what he was saying in that sort of in that clip?
So Bismillah. So one thing that David Brent, aka Ricky Gervais, I think is the co-host in that, right? And he drops
okay,
he drops the joke, and he didn't buy it. He didn't laugh. He didn't join in. He sounded quite somber. I think he's obviously at that point certainly taking it serious. Now, the thing as well, my brother, yeah, is when it comes to the spies, the intelligence community, people like that, you can never be sure what's really going on. He said that the people that contacted him are bona fide, you know, so he obviously did a bit of due diligence on it, and he knows that it's a legit contact that he's had. Maybe he was brought in and he's been told, look, get out of the online stuff, don't talk about it anymore, you're now part of the thing. We can't be sure, yeah. But definitely we hear a somber tone, and definitely we hear there was, after that, there's another time he was talking about it, and you can almost hear the excitement in the way that he's talking, you know, because it's something new to them, for them to sink their teeth into. They've been doing the same stuff for years, yeah, going over the same road, dealing with the same arguments that people present to them in their mind. This is what I'm talking about. And there's something new's come along, you know, it's obviously rocked the boat a little bit. It's a little bit shocking, and like you said right towards the end there, he mentioned he's going to have to potentially apologize. But the way he is I would think definitely to brought him in as an expert on, if they did bring him in, or let's say if they wanted his advice, they would be looking for how people like you, yeah, who are in the field of da'wah or apologetics, how are the apologists going to take it? Because he's been dealing with people on the front line for some time, and unfortunately for him, this lends a lot of credibility to the arguments that he's been, like you said, laughing at for the last however many years. Not like the UFO, like we said, is what we said is one aspect of the phenomena, and the government knows this. And so do the researchers know this. You know, the real researchers. It's not just a thing that's flying around at supersonic speeds or beyond in the sky, or reappearing and disappearing and reappearing in other places. You know, it's way more than just that. But he's only been perhaps brought into that aspect of it. But they're going to ask him, you know, if they were to bring him in, this is what we've got as evidence, scientific evidence. How are the people going to react to it? And he's probably case zero. You know, you're going to see how he reacts to it, and that's probably going to help explain how other people who think like him are going to react to it. And he sounded rather somber.
And also I think possibly more than his expertise, I think people like him are probably bought into, or are approached, because they fall into the category of the public intellectual, right? So it's not necessarily the academic category, it's the public intellectual who has, meaning they are individuals considered to be academic, but at the same time very popular amongst the masses. Now, people like him, obviously he speaks to a large group of people, relatively small in the scale of the global population, but a large enough group of people who are atheists, who have a set of beliefs, which is that they don't believe in God, they don't believe in religion. And so it's almost like, I think some people like him are brought in to set the narrative for these individuals. How will he deliver or announce this information to these people when time comes? Now, for him, at least, one thing which is a problem is, in and of itself, is that he has to acknowledge a phenomenon which sort of breaks the bounds of what's real according to the atheist worldview, right? Even without getting into detail in regards to what the phenomenon is and the, you know, the true nature of it, just the fact that there is something there that exists which defies the known laws of physics in some ways, and therefore, you know, even from an observational standpoint, it's not, you know, very easy to fully understand or collect data on. That in and of itself is a big problem for someone like him and his followers. You know, so I think it's interesting for them to bring people like him like this to really get them to see, okay, what is the narrative we can set? How could we deliver this information to the masses? But I think even if he does eventually come out or get back into the loop and he becomes more public about it, I don't.
Or like I said, he might be in the loop, and that's why he's made out. Oh, I'm done with that. I'm not interested anymore, and he's walking off into the sunset with the information that he was looking for. And now he's got the stamp of approval, and he's in there working on it. Who knows, Akhi? You know what I'm saying?